There on the field, the pride of the Southland band crisply marches into the Giant T. The rear, the roar of 97,000 fans rises with each rhythmic step. In the background, George Beatsis is singing "Fight, Balls, Fight." The orange and white Shakers flood the air. The Volunteers are ready at the north end of the football field to burst through the gate. They're coming now, racing onto the field through the Giant T. In that magic moment that says, wherever you are, it's football time in Tennessee.
Welcome to the Talkin VAWLS Network. My name is Boogie Bentley. Tennessee sitting at 4-0 for the season. We talked going into this year just how important it was to start September at 4-0. But now the goalpost, we start to move the goalpost. The expectations start to shift. And look, we saw this last year in 2021. Going into that season just a year ago, a lot of people said I was crazy for saying that Tennessee could go out and win 6 games. You know, they opened up the season 2-2 with wins over Bowling Green, Tennessee Tech, losses to Pitt and Florida, but then they absolutely blew the doors off of Missouri and then again off of South Carolina, and then they were going up against a top 15 Ole Miss team that suddenly your expectations start to shift a little bit, and a lot of this fan base was expecting Tennessee to win that Ole Miss game. Now we're seeing the same thing. Tennessee opens up the year 4-0. A lot of us, going into the year, were terrified of that Pitt game. You were terrified of Florida coming to Neyland Stadium, but Tennessee finds a way to get it done, and the expectations start to shift. But what is reality? What is reality? Because you look at Tennessee getting ready to go on the road in about a week and a half, take on a pretty good LSU team, but Tennessee is favored by 4.5. What is the new expectations for this season? We're going to take a look at some comments from Josh Pate coming up here in just a moment. Before we do that, as always, do me a favor. Go ahead and smash that like button just below the video. It's quick, it's free, it's easy. It helps the channel. Also, if you're new to the Talkin VAWLS Network, welcome. We're not experts. We're not insiders. We are fans just like you. For the fans, by the fans. If you like what we do, make sure you subscribe. Click that bell for notifications. You won't miss out when we go live or when we drop a video. We'll be live tonight, 7 p.m. Eastern Time. Myself, Dauber, JP, going to be live talking about expectations, reality versus hype. We're going to be talking about this LSU game. But let's go ahead and jump into it. Let's hear some comments from Josh Pate about what the expectations are now opening the season 4-0.
On HQ. Josh, Tennessee's not playing this week, but that doesn't mean we shouldn't be talking about them. Give us a bold prediction for the Vols moving forward the rest of this season.
Well, Noah and I fought about this earlier this morning because I didn't know how bold I wanted to get. But if we were to recalibrate the whole season total thing and we were to ask, all right, what's an updated win-loss total for Tennessee? Certainly if you went 9.5, I would go over now because everyone in Knoxville is looking and saying, all right, we got past Florida. We know that our offense is exactly what we hoped it would be and thought it would be. So we know we got Bama coming. We're going to be a dog there. We know we got to go to Georgia. We're going to be a dog there. But even if we lose those, shouldn't we win every other game? Look at the schedule here. They go at LSU. They'll be favored there, Christopher. I know that because Mississippi State was favored down there a couple of weeks ago. They've got Kentucky at home. They'll be favored there. They've got games against Missouri. They'll be favored at South Carolina, at Vanderbilt. I think 10-2 is now fair to be looked at as a reasonable expectation. Tennessee fans, because you're a fan, it's reasonable to look at that now as the floor. And if that's the case, this goes from being a nice, solid SEC team, Chris, to potentially a New Year's Six bowl team. And certainly in year 2 of Josh Heupel and knowing what they had to go through to overhaul that roster, that would be a huge deal for them.
It's a fascinating race right now to see who's going to be the 3rd best team in the SEC.
His 10 wins. Is that fair? Is it okay to shift expectations? Because Josh Pate brings up a good point there when he says that Tennessee is going to be favored in every game outside of Alabama and Georgia as we move forward. Now, going into the year, my prediction has been and still is, it's always been 8-4. That's where I was at. But you looked at the Pitt game, you looked at the Florida game as toss-up games. And it's the same way going on the road to play LSU. Pretty good Kentucky team comes to Neyland Stadium. There are still some toss-ups left on this schedule, but I think Alabama's beatable. I think Georgia really is the only team on the schedule that I don't even know that they're beatable. Tennessee, they can beat them, but will they beat them? I just don't think so. You would have to go out and play nearly perfect to be able to compete with Georgia and even Alabama at that point. I think they're a little bit more beatable than Georgia is, but is it too much to ask? Is 10 wins too much to ask? Because, again, going back to what I just said, Josh Pate brings up a good point. Tennessee is going to be favored in every single game the rest of the way outside of Georgia and Alabama. So is it too much to say you expect your team to go out and win when they're favored? Because that's the way I felt about the Florida game. You're favored by 10.5. You got to go out and take care of business in that game. Going on the road to play Pitt, you're favored by a touchdown. You got to take care of business in that game. And I know the LSU game is tough. But we are talking about less than 2 years. We're a year and a half, a little less than a year and a half into Josh Heupel's career at Tennessee. And we went from 6 wins, 8 wins, to now we're talking about possible New Year's 6 bowls. This is huge for Josh Heupel. Last night on the fan call-in show, obviously got a lot of heated, yelling, having some fun, arguing. It's nice to be sitting here at the end of September arguing about whether or not Josh Heupel should get aggressive in the fourth quarter, whether he should put his foot on their throat and finish the game or be conservative, chew clock. It's way better to have those kind of arguments and disagreements, and we can laugh about it after the show, versus being 2-2 and having really difficult conversations about this coaching staff and whether or not they're going to get the job done. And we can nitpick, we can talk about the defense, we can talk about decisions in the game, but it's nice. The bottom line is we're all Tennessee fans. We all want to win. It's nice to be sitting here after September at 4-0. And do your expectations shift? What do you say? Hit the comment section and let me know. When you pull up the schedule and you look at the way we're going to finish this thing out at LSU coming up in about a week and a half. Huge game now. Biggest game on the schedule, right? It always shifts from one game to the next. Going on the road to play Pitt. Huge game. Now it's in the rearview mirror. Beating Florida inside of Neyland Stadium. We all know history. We all know history. That's why, my argument has been to celebrate that win. Enjoy that win over Florida, because we know what the past has been with that football game. To be sitting here at 4-0, but now that's all in the rearview mirror. We look at LSU on the road. That becomes the biggest game on the schedule. You find a way to go beat the Tigers on October the 8th and open this season at 5-0. When Alabama comes to town on October the 15th, the environment, you thought Florida was electric. You thought Ole Miss last year was electric. Give me a top 5 showdown against Alabama inside of Neyland Stadium on October the 15th, and I will show you electric. We'll all be picking Tennessee to win that game. If Tennessee goes into that Alabama game 5-0, we're going to be sitting here picking Tennessee to shock the world and get that win over Alabama. But when you look at the schedule and you listen to Josh Pate's comments, do you now think that the floor is 10 wins? Is your expectation for Tennessee to go 10-2? UT Martin, Missouri, South Carolina, Vanderbilt, those are all wins at this point. And that's how you get to 8-4. That's how you get to 8-4. Kentucky, LSU, to me, toss-ups at this point. Can you go 1-1? I think the floor for me is 9-3. The ceiling is 11-1. 10-2, I'd be pretty dang happy. If you go 10-2 and find your way to a New Year's Six bowl, the world of recruiting, the world of the transfer portal, we're already seeing some crystal balls start to flood in. You're seeing some hype. Are you going to be able to flip some of those top targets like Carnell Tate, like Francis Mauigoa? You make it to a New Year's Six bowl, people start to take notice. And again, talking about that Florida game, doesn't matter how it happened, ifs, ands, and buts. The bottom line is they got the win, and kids are coming out of that game, and they're not talking about why Josh Heupel wasn't aggressive, why he didn't continue to try to score points. They're not talking about why was he conservative. They're talking about the atmosphere, the energy, and the fact that Tennessee got the win over Florida. But I want to hear your comments. I want to hear your comments on this. Josh Pate saying the floor is 10 wins. Going to be favored in every game. Going to be favored going on the road to take on LSU. Going to be favored when Kentucky comes to Neyland Stadium. Is your floor now 10 wins? What do you have to say? Hit that comment section and let me know your thoughts. If you have not done so yet, please do smash that thumbs up on the way out the door. Go check out the official merchandise of the Talkin' VAWLS Network. Go to bonfire.com/store/Talkin' VAWLS. You can see these limited edition Buck Fama shirts. You better get one quick. These are limited. They are going to be gone forever sooner rather than later. But if you order soon, maybe you'll be able to rock that inside of Neyland Stadium when Alabama comes to town. We've also got all the Old Faithfuls. But again, Any and all support, greatly appreciated. Thank you to the members of the channel. If you want to become a member, you can hit that join button down below. You get access to custom Talkin' Vols emojis. You get access to fan call-in shows, all kinds of fun perks and benefits, but you also support what we are trying to do with this channel. Gives us the opportunity to bring more content your way. But again, bonfire.com/store/Talkin' Vols. That's going to do it for this one. This is the Talkin' Vols Network. My name is Boogie Bentley. Go Big Orange.